This is a Westinghouse one-person infrared sauna purchased from Best Buy during their Boxing Day sale for around 2,000 Canadian dollars. In order to assemble this sauna, you will need a Phillips head screwdriver and I would recommend having a drill on hand, even though they don't recommend it. I wouldn't generally use those to drive the screw in unless you're sure you're not going to strip anything. Just screw by hand most of the time, and then if anything's a bit sticky, you'll have the drill ready. Or you might have to drill a pilot hole at one point like I did, because as great as this sauna is so far, it's tricky to put together. So I wanted to give people a couple tips on that, because I couldn't find anything online, and maybe yours will go together fine, but ours, the sliding bits that are on the fronts of the side panels that lock into the door, they weren't quite square, and so it kept jamming up, and you couldn't get them level, and then they would jam up and you couldn't separate them, and I had to figure out how do I separate them, how to get them back together. So what you'll want to do to start is get your floor panel out, and you'll want it so that the reinforced part, if you look on the bottom, there's some reinforced square on the bottom of your floor panel. Put that towards where you want your front of your sauna to be, and then you'll want that raised wood that's nailed on there to be parallel with your door. Now place your front door on the front of the pad, and then bring in your left side door, the one that has the control box on it, and line it up, make sure it's as level as you can. You'll have to lift it, and at that point that's where you can kind of use the dowel to help you, or it's just something that's a couple inches thick, preferably something square. I had a dowel and it's round, which is an added complication, but it worked. So you just want to make sure it goes on as square as you can so that it doesn't bind. And what can also help is, before you slide that downwards, push the door over to the left, slide it left a little bit so that the panel can slide straight down towards the floor beside your pad. That way it's going to have gravity helping you lock it into place. And then, you're going to want to pull down on the top of it so that it gets flush with the door. But if you do that and it doesn't go flush and it binds, which could happen if you don't have all three pins lined up, or if they're not perfectly square, it's going to bind on you, and then it's going to be tricky to get out. What you can do in that place is you can lift the whole thing up, slide something underneath the side piece. That way there's something pushing up on it, and you can get a helper to push up on the door, on the side panel with you as well. If you end up getting both side pieces jammed on there at any point, what you'll want to do is leave the whole thing on the pad, but slide it forwards so that the door is hanging off the edge of the pad. Both side panels are resting on the pad, but the door panel can slide straight down towards the floor. Then you'll have gravity helping you. So then you can just kind of push down on it, and it'll eventually pop out of place. Do not panic, it will come out, but it is tricky, and just try not to break anything. So let's just say things are going well. You've got that first piece on and it's flush. You are not out of the woods. The next piece is way harder to go on. The right side panel took a long time for me to figure out. Eventually my fiance noticed that the sliders were not totally square, so we tried a couple things like loosening the screws so that they could, and then straightening them. That didn't quite get it where we needed to. Then what we did was, I think we removed one of them, and we kind of got proof of concept that that was what was preventing it, was that they weren't fastened squarely. So what we did is we removed the top pin completely. And then we slid the thing on, and finally it was flush, it was square, it was happy. I was not going to try to take that thing back out because it was finally on after quite a long time of trying. And so then it was flush, like you've seen in the video here. And then what I did was I drilled a small pilot hole about 2 inches in from the corner of the roof panel, and then drove an extra screw in. And when you get to the roof panel part, you'll see that they ask you to put in 4 screws. Each one is in the center of the side of each side of the roof. I just added 1 more on that right side, close to that corner, to help kind of just hold it tight, because the pin wasn't there anymore. And honestly, you could even keep it loose, but I'm not a fan of doing things improperly. So I don't know what Westinghouse hates about screws. These slider pins, I would have just liked to screw the thing together. But anyways, the pins ended up working. So now let's just say that's kind of skipping a step. So you've got the door up, you've got the left wall on, you've finally got the right wall on. If this was easy for you, congratulations. The rest is going to be a lot more of a breeze. So then you're going to want to grab that, the back panel, place that on the back, and you've got to line up the grooves, close up the latches, and from this point you're pretty much good to go. If you can see where the floor panel goes in the video. The cord runs underneath the groove of the bench panel and plugs in on the left side there, and then the bench panel plugs in on the right side. You'll have 3 power cords to plug in at the roof panel, and you'll have a few small of the auxiliary little clips to clip together, which are all clearly labeled, so shouldn't be a problem. Hope you enjoyed this random, quirky, potentially useless video if you don't have a Westinghouse sauna, but if even one person benefits from this, that's why I did it. Best of luck to you.